Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of El Cafecito. Today we have Art La Flamme, who's an instructor for Angelo State's Center for Security Studies and Criminal Justice Department. Art, how are you doing today?
I am well. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining. I know this was last minute and kind of just threw it together, but I'm excited to have you and got some fun questions. Are you ready?
I am.
All right. So first question, if you could add an hour of free time to the end of the day, what would you do with that time?
Very, very simple question. It would be an hour I'd actually get to spend with my wife. We both work. So it's a very easy thing. So in addition to coming home, working, preparing meals, it would be a chance just to catch a breath and hang out with my wife. We've been married for, I'll just say over 25 years. So yeah, a chance to chill and relax.
What would you consider to be the best thing you've ever purchased?
Kind of funny. 2008, as the market crashed, you were probably about 5 years old back then, I'm sure. The housing bubble crashed, the market crashed. We were in the middle of moving from Germany to Hawaii. I was in the Army at the time. And we weren't moving together. I was actually in the state of Georgia, not the country of Georgia, but we were leaving Germany. And I had to stop in Georgia, and my wife and young, at the time, children were transiting from Germany en route to Hawaii. As all of this was unfolding, and I'm talking to my wife on the phone as we're watching, what could be the equivalent of the 1929 market crash, and we're looking at all of this, and I convinced my wife that we should buy stock, which sounds like something a dumb husband would do, but I convinced her that we should buy 3 stocks. The most bizarre one was that we should buy NVIDIA.
Okay.
Right? They make graphics cards, which right now is like the hottest thing ever. We actually still have that stock. So everybody go out and buy your 3080s and your, your 3070s, please, because that stock's still doing pretty good. Electronic arts.
Okay.
Which nowadays they're kind of a thing, but back in 2008 they were just sort of a up and coming kind of thing. And then Apple.
Okay.
iPhone had just come out, and I think the iPhone 2 had just been released, and we paid almost nothing.
Really?
For it, because it had. I think we bought it at almost the bottom.
Yeah.
We held on to that, and we only sold it a couple of years ago, and we did okay on that one. That was
wow.
We had some very long talks before we pressed buy on that one.
Yeah.
And, it worked out. All 3 of those were super. So.
What is something you've been meaning to try but just haven't gotten around to?
Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to explain that to me.
It's a video game. Came out this year, this winter. Yeah, okay. It's a video game.
What kind of game is
it? First person, open world.
Okay.
High intensity graphics, very demanding. It was supposed to be the best thing. It was released full of bugs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get that way by the time you get around to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a job.
Yeah.
That is sort of getting in the way of me being a kid. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm actually a large kid. But my oldest is a avid gamer. He sort of picked that up from me. So
Okay.
I'll get to it.
You guys play together often when you have time?
We play very different games.
Okay.
He's a Warhammer player, things like that. But we do every now and then. We find the same one to play, but he definitely got bit by the same bug.
What current mainstream trend makes no sense to you?
The whole dance thing on TikTok, but perhaps more so the things that people call pranks that are just plain mean. I don't really get that.
Okay. I think they're also seem to be pretty popular on social media outlets.
Yeah, doing something that is just plain mean and then trying to play it off as being a prank.
Yeah.
That to me is just mean.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Maybe the definition of the word prank has changed, or maybe I'm actually 600 years old. So
I think people will call it a prank, and then they figured out how to monetize it, and so they put it on social media. And if it's mean or not, people are going to watch it. And I don't know how the monetization of that works, but yeah, it seems pretty desperate. If you were a burglar but could only take something that would inconvenience people, what would you take?
So I know you understand this, since you and I both served in the military. I would take all the extra condiments out of people's refrigerators. Being in the military, you move every few years.
Yeah.
And when the movers come, they'll take almost everything, but they won't take the stuff that's in your refrigerator. So when you go to say goodbye, you go to see your next door neighbor, and you invariably end up carrying over this box. And it's like all the stuff that you're not allowed to take, which includes all your condiments. And then you say goodbye and you hand over this big box, and it's like all the ketchup and the teriyaki sauce and the the leftover stuff. And then pretty soon, if you've been there too long, your fridge is just full of condiments. I would be that would be that guy. That's what I would do. I would go around the world and just clean out fridges of extra condiments.
That's awesome.
By the way, currently, now that I've been out of the Army for a while, we have so few condiments.
Really?
So few. Oh my gosh, yes. If we run out of one, we kind of look at each other and it's like, do we really need more ketchup? Can we get by without ketchup?
Yeah.
Let's try it. Let's try life without ketchup. And then invariably one of us breaks down and buys ketchup. A very small bottle. Very small bottle.
It's your personal bottle, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the little tiny Tabasco size. Remember those? Yeah, it's like, I get a little tiny to get ketchup. Yeah.
What is the worst movie you've ever seen?
Oh, I have seen some bad ones. I mentioned I was in Georgia in 2008.
Yes.
That was a little over 100 days, and I watched one bad movie every day because I was at an Army school, and we had a writing assignment where we had to write every day for that class. And so I watched a bad movie every day, and I used that as my writing assignment. So that was a lot of bad movies. There was a lot of Nicolas Cage during that period. Battlefield Earth is really bad. I trying to think what the other one. There's what is the name of it? Oh my God, it's hang on, I'm gonna think of it.
No worries.
It's not Battlefield Earth though. Dark Crimes.
Dark crime.
Jim Carrey made a movie that went straight to video that I saw on a Rotten Tomatoes list of, you aren't going to believe how bad this movie is, that everyone hates it, to include the critics and the the viewers ratings. Like it's one of the only movies that has like 0.0. And I found it at my local library and I watched it. And you know what? They're right. It is that bad.
Really?
It is that bad. I have and own a copy of Ishtar, which is one of the biggest like box office flops. It's worse than Ishtar.
Wow. So
Dark crimes. It is that bad.
Is it one of those, like when you go into a movie with an expectation, to be entertained, and it's a bad movie, it's a disappointment. But if you go into a movie that you expect to be bad, you can be entertained by it.
So there are like Battlefield Earth. You're going to go see a bad movie, right? And there'll be other people in the theater. Like Bangkok Nights was a Nick Cage movie. It was so bad. It was so bad, right? Yeah. And people are like, ha 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 ha. And you go in the theater, and there'll be people in the theater. Right. If you actually found a theater playing Dark Crimes, if you went into the theater, you would be the only one in the theater. There wouldn't be other people in the theater.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be mice. There'd be nobody. There'd be no ushers. It's not like there'd be ushers like on the side going, wow, this is kind of interesting. I wonder, if this is really, no, because they would know at that point. No, it's that bad.
It's that bad. But now I'm curious, so I might just have to
go read what Rotten Tomatoes has to say about Dark Crimes. And then you can do like 6 degrees at Kevin Bacon and be like, I know a guy who actually watched that movie. Wow. And that guy teaches intelligence. I don't think that thing means what I think it means.
Well, consider it watched. I'm gonna have to track it down now. Would you rather live 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future?
Good question. My grandmother was born in 1899, and I got to know her. And she talked about the years that she was alive and the changes that she saw, right?
Yeah.
The engine, right? Electricity, flight, taking a train across the country to go to the Olympics in 1932, right? Stuff like that. Street lamps coming and going from being somebody lighting them to eventually being electrical. Okay. All that type of change just in her lifetime.
Yeah.
But there's a lot all the way up to computers. And I look at where we stand today, and you have spaceflight now, and the dawn of commercial spaceflight. Yeah. And that's, if you look at what her 100 years was to what the next 100 years is going to be, I really don't know. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to say the next 100 years is going to be pretty fantastic. And if the technological curve continues, the next 100 years should be pretty fantastic.
It's hard to imagine just thinking like the thousands of years leading up to the late 19th century, and then within a few decades how much changed.
Yeah.
And it's hard to imagine there could ever be that much change in that short of period of time, but we just don't know that because we don't know that. I don't know. It's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
But I'd have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'd say come back and see, but it's kind of a philosophical question.
Are there any movie quotes you know by heart?
Aliens. Bishop. I may be synthetic, but I'm not stupid.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just there was a few months back we went on an aliens binge, and that's so much
Oh,
fun.
Aliens is great. The whole series of movies is great. Very philosophical too. I mean, there's a lot that's into it. So
Very cool. If you could befriend any person from history, who would it be and why?
as I would say, probably Gandhi. Um, and not because I need to lose some weight, because he had a very good eating habit, but because I think the pacifism is and his view on life is important. It's funny, the guy who was in the army for 600 years thinks that fighting is the last solution, right?
Yeah.
And I think I would learn a lot.
What is your answer to managing stress?
I would say running, but my body does not support that anymore. I broke too many things. When I was regularly going in and out of combat, that was my answer, was I ran. The endorphins were a huge part of stress management. And I took up endurance running, long runs. I ran marathons, I ran ultras. I was doing 40 miles a week during the heavy part of my military career. 2010, in between two tours in Iraq, I did 2,010 miles. I mean, it was running a lot. It's a great way to, cardio and endorphins is a fantastic way to help manage stress.
Yeah.
It also allowed me to eat ice cream whenever I wanted. And some people talk about their bodies being a temple. Mine is an amusement park. I don't hold back on that concept. That is an important philosophy. So in the end, you die. I mean, that's sort of how I view it. So
yeah, it's the truth.
Yeah, you can die wanting ice cream, or you can die having had ice cream. I'm going with the latter one. So
yeah, same.
Yeah.
What would the title of your autobiography be?
This book cannot be published. And I say that only because I've had my family ask me, when am I writing my autobiography? And I remind them that I signed paperwork when I left the intelligence community, where I worked for 25 years, saying that I will not write and publish books. And if I do, that I will submit them for review through certain agencies. So I'm not going to be writing an autobiography anytime soon. So
Smart answer.
If I do, it'll end up with some snazzy title like that. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good answer for something that's going on the internet.
I mean, I have been fortunate. I had a lot of very good adventures while I was in the military. I was stationed overseas. I lived. My wife and I were based out of Europe for 12 years. We traveled. When I wasn't in far-flung places, we traveled around Europe quite a bit. Hopped in the car and we'd just go places. We've done all kinds of neat things.
Yeah.
But they're great stories to tell around the dinner table. But that's about it.
Yeah. Has it been difficult adjusting to not having that adventure and I guess the camaraderie and like how have you done that?
The whole post-military thing?
Yeah.
It is. And but it's a whole different life.
Yeah.
We very deliberately chose to close that chapter altogether and open a new chapter. And we've done that together. And I mean, it works.
Yeah.
I mean, we are still together, and we're still in this chapter doing this. So, yeah.
Which superpower would you give to your arch enemy?
Static electricity. Everybody relies on electronic gizmos and devices. I think I would give them static electricity.
Okay.
Now, what they did with that, you know, they'd have to figure out how to master it. But I think it would either help them or hurt them in just about every way.
Help and hurt, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Permanently fixed socks to rub their feet on.
Yeah. Right. But keep them away from the new iPhone, you know, things like that.
Okay. What is your favorite course to teach and why?
Well, it's not in the catalog yet. There's a course I teach about every 2 years on counterintelligence. It's right now it's an INA 4381. It's a special topic. It's funny, when I was being interviewed for my current job, the committee asked me what I thought was missing from the catalog of courses. And I said, you don't have a course in counterintelligence. And they sort of all looked at each other. And I said, "What? No, really, you don't have one. Trust me. I have been through your catalog, you know, forwards, backwards." And then they sort of said, "And are you going to write one?" Well, yeah, you give me the opportunity, and I will. So, you know, just about every other summer, I'm not teaching it this summer. I did last summer, but I teach a course on counterintelligence. And I think it's great. An opportunity to talk about what foreign intelligence services do and the things they do directed at the United States. But it's a good course. The one that's in the catalog that I absolutely love to teach is INA 3305, which is intelligence collection. We talk about all the different intelligence collection disciplines. Human intelligence, imagery, signals intelligence, measures and signals intelligence, things that come off of rockets when they get launched.
Yeah.
Ground detection, you know, when tanks drive by, how do you detect that at distance? You know, things like that. It's a great course, absolutely a fantastic course. It's fun.
So most of these classes, are they taken by like the ROTC students or the students?
No. I teach a lot of graduate level classes too. By the way, we have a pretty solid grad program.
Yeah.
But the undergrad, we get students from everywhere. We get, just students who find our undergrad program while they're on campus and think, this actually is my calling. I've seen all the seasons of Homeland and this is what I want to do, or I think The Americans is the best show ever. And, you know, and we have students who don't touch campus. They're doing their entire degree online, and this is what they want to study. And they're able to do it. It's great.
Wow.
So
very cool.
Yeah.
I think just good to know that this kind of stuff is out there, you know. So
yeah.
So what have you enjoyed most about Angelo State?
The meat market, the ability to go get good steaks and beef jerky and all that type of stuff. I mean, honestly, you know, a good barbecue is entirely changed by having access to the stuff that comes out of Angelo State.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know what I'm sure you get the emails too, right? You can go out and pick up fresh steaks and all that type of stuff.
I've gotten those emails now.
Oh, you need to pay attention to your emails.
Do I? I'm on my email every day. I don't say anything about fresh meat.
You can go as a part of the agriculture department. You can go out to their sales store and pick up fresh cuts of meat. That is like one of the best parts of Angelo State.
I did not know that. Okay,
Yes.
we're gonna have to talk
Yes.
right after this.
Yes. This is like one of the best parts of Angelo State.
I thought you were messing with me at first. And...
No, yes, this is like one of the best things. I'm just saying.
There's so much I don't even know.
This is why I'm an instructor. I'm here to teach you some things every now and then. I could teach you how to run dead drops and how to pay off informants, or I could teach you how to grill. You have your choice.
We'll talk about all three after this is over. Okay, so for our final question, what advice would you like to give students here at Angelo State?
I would say fuel your passion, right? When you find those things that are of interest to you while you're working on your studies, feed them. And this is your time to just absorb things. You have a whole life ahead of you to go do all kinds of other things, but now is a time, quite literally, just to focus on learning. And so if you find things that you like and you have an interest in, go dive into it, spend time on it. And if there aren't the classes that you think are going to be relevant to it, go ask faculty who do teach things related to it, go ask them more about it. And go, if you need to, go make electives on those subjects, because this is the time to do it. You can very easily take something that you think now is an interest and turn it into your lifelong passion. Later on, that thing is going to come up, and it's going to be called work, and it's only work. It's only hard work if it has to be. You can find ways to be paid to do things that you like, if you or have good fortune and stuff. But if you can fuel the passion now, you may be able to find a way to pursue doing things that you enjoy. So if you can figure that stuff out now, it can pay off later on. So I'll tell you that's the piece of advice that I have. The minor piece is use the writing center. That's the little nugget I have to say. I mean, I'm not like paid to say that, but I have to say that. Use the writing center.